It is February 3rd, 2026. In a bright, quiet office, McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski sits down to taste his company's giant new recipe. He is supposed to make the whole internet hungry, but instead of a joyful, messy bite, he takes a tiny, nervous nibble. This single awkward moment will spark endless jokes, revive a bizarre 1991 cartoon rumor, and hand his biggest fast food rival the ultimate victory. The fast food world is a battlefield. Every single day, thousands of restaurants fight for your hunger. They want to be the one place you choose when your stomach growls. In the early months of 2026, the hunger stakes are higher than ever before. Customers want more flavor. They want bigger, heavier meals. And the biggest restaurant chain on earth knows they need a powerful new champion to win this fight. Enter the Big Arch Burger. It is not just a regular meal. It is a giant. The recipe is carefully crafted in hidden test kitchens. Chefs spent over a year perfecting every single layer. Picture this: 2 large, juicy quarter-pound beef patties sitting on a warm, toasted bun. That bun is special, completely covered in tiny sesame and poppy seeds. Then comes the rich, melting white cheddar cheese. 3 whole slices of it. Next, chefs pile on crisp, fresh lettuce, tangy green pickles, and a crunchy mix of golden fried onions and fresh sliced onions. Finally, they drizzle the whole thing with a brand new, creamy, tangy sauce. This massive creation packs 1,020 calories. It is almost as heavy as an entire meal combo, wrapped up in one single box. It is designed to be the ultimate craveable food. Diners in Portugal, Germany, and Canada taste tested it early, and they loved it. The flavor is bold, the crunch is loud, the hype is incredibly real. Now the company is ready to bring this massive burger to the United States. The launch date is set for March 3, 2026. A launch this big needs a massive cheerleader. The company needs someone to stand up, show off the delicious food, and make the whole internet hungry. That job falls directly to the boss. McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski has to step into the spotlight. But there is a problem. Selling a giant, messy, juicy burger requires a natural, human touch. You have to look like you truly love food. You have to be ready to get your hands dirty. When McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski decides to film a taste test, he brings the meal out of the warm, noisy restaurant and into a cold, quiet room. He is about to show the world the Big Arch Burger, but the way he looks at it will change everything.
First of all, let's try to get this thing. I don't even know how to attack it.
The date is February 3rd, 2026. The stage is set to introduce the world to the mighty Big Arch Burger. But instead of a bustling, joyful dining room filled with the warm scent of toasted buns and melting cheddar, we find ourselves inside a quiet, sterile room. Light wood cabinets line the walls, and the atmosphere feels entirely still. Standing dead center in front of the camera is McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski. He wears a crisp light blue collared shirt, cleanly tucked underneath a beige V-neck sweater. The setting feels less like a cozy kitchen, ready for a hearty, flavorful meal, and much more like a serious corporate boardroom. On the dark gray tray in front of him rests his lunch. He holds the colorful orange and brown striped packaging that contains the massive Big Arch Burger. He carefully opens the white cardboard clamshell box, rigidly supporting the bottom with his left hand and lifting the lid with his right. He speaks directly to the hungry audience watching at home. He says, "I love this product. It is so good."
Love this product. It is so good.
He promises the viewers that he is going to eat this delicious creation for his lunch. But notice the specific vocabulary he chooses. He does not call it a satisfying meal, a juicy burger, or a wonderful recipe. He repeatedly calls his food a product. This single corporate word choice instantly strips away the mouth-watering magic of culinary arts. It makes the fresh, flavor-packed meal sound like cold, industrial material, rather than a lunch meant to be savored. McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski then lifts the heavy burger using both of his hands, his fingers spread wide across the thick sesame and poppy seed top bun. He stares closely down at the rich layers of beef, crisp lettuce, and tangy pickles. His lips are pressed together tightly in a stiff closed-mouth smile. He admits out loud to the camera that he does not even know how to attack it because the giant burger has so much going on. Instead of looking ready to devour a delicious feast, he looks deeply unsure of how to physically consume the very food his company created. The moment of truth finally arrives. Months of busy test kitchens, flavor balancing, and countless recipe adjustments all come down to this single taste test. McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski slowly moves the enormous Big Arch burger toward his face. This is the exact second where a food leader is supposed to show pure, unadulterated joy. A proper, craveable burger bite is usually messy. It is loud and enthusiastic. You lean forward into it, completely ready to experience the savory crunch of fried onions and the rich, warm melted cheddar. But the executive does the exact opposite. He pauses. His eyes look deeply uncertain. And then he takes a bite. But it is not a massive, hunger-satisfying chomp. It is a tiny, incredibly cautious nibble. His lips purse tightly together as he barely lets his teeth graze the outer edge of the soft, toasted bread. It looks as though he is actively afraid of the culinary creation resting in his own hands. He pulls the meal away from his face far too quickly, holding it out to the camera as if to desperately prove he actually tasted it. He forces a stiff smile and tries to reassure the audience that it was a substantial bite for such a giant recipe. But the internet is already watching closely, and hungry modern viewers miss absolutely nothing. Within a matter of hours, the short clip spreads like a wildfire across every major social media platform. Food lovers, casual diners, and cultural critics alike pause the video, meticulously dissecting the incredibly awkward interaction. They zoom in on his facial expression, pointing out a look that many observers describe as genuine regret. The microscopic nibble instantly earns a hilarious viral nickname online, the Squidward bite. The internet collectively compares the wealthy executive to the grumpy cartoon character, reluctantly tasting a delicious patty for the very first time. Thousands of jokes flood the digital space. One highly liked response claims that McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski looks like he is eating the food purely to fulfill a strict legal obligation. Another viewer brutally notes that his entire vibe screams kale salad, suggesting that the leader of a global restaurant empire would rather be eating a light, leafy green lunch than his own heavyweight menu item. When you are trying to build massive appetite for the savory, flavor-packed Big Arch burger, looking like you are terrified of your own recipe is the ultimate culinary crime. In the highly competitive world of fast food, rival brands are always watching each other closely. When McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski released his incredibly awkward taste test of the Big Arch burger, his biggest competitor saw a golden opportunity. Burger King was actually in the middle of launching a major flavor upgrade for their own famous signature meal, the Whopper. They were introducing freshly cut toppings, an updated savory mayonnaise, and a premium toasted bun. They needed a powerful way to prove their food was the ultimate choice for hungry customers. Enter Tom Curtis, the president of Burger King Americas. He decides to film his own reaction video, but he takes the exact opposite approach. He does not sit down in a quiet, sterile office. Instead, he stands right in the middle of a loud, active commercial kitchen. He wears a heavy brown apron over his rolled-up sleeves. The apron features large, retro orange letters that proudly read, "Flame Grilling since 1954. He wears a dark smartwatch on his wrist and looks completely at home, surrounded by the sights and smells of a real restaurant. There is absolutely no hesitation here. He does not hold the food like a delicate piece of glass, and he certainly never calls his fresh meal a product. He grips the large, half-eaten burger tightly with both hands. He leans forward, opens his mouth incredibly wide, and takes a massive, deeply passionate bite. He actually closes his eyes to fully enjoy the rich, savory flavors. Someone behind the camera asks him how it tastes. He laughs, chewing happily, and replies that there is only one thing missing: a napkin. This side-by-side comparison tells you everything you need to know about selling a culinary experience. On one side, McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski looks terrified of his own big arch burger, barely grazing the bread with his teeth. On the other side, a rival executive embraces the messy, wonderful reality of eating a juicy, freshly prepared meal. One makes you feel like you are attending a boring corporate meeting. The other actually makes your stomach rumble. Pause right here. Let us take a quick step back from the corporate battle. When a video feels deeply uncomfortable online, the internet does not just laugh and move on. It starts to investigate. The tiny forced nibble taken by McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski did not just create funny reaction images, it actually awakened a bizarre hidden corner of internet history. Viewers watching the boss avoid his own culinary creation felt an eerie sense of déjà vu.
And cut.
A popular pop culture blog post quickly pointed out that the entire awkward lunch looked exactly like a famous cartoon episode from 1991. In that specific animated story, a wealthy corporate boss completely refuses to consume the very food he serves to his customers. For a modern digital audience in 2026, seeing this play out in real life felt like a spooky glitch in reality. Why would the leader of a massive restaurant chain be so hesitant to eat a warm, freshly prepared meal? That single question acted like a match dropped in dry grass. If the McDonald's CEO was afraid to eat the big arch burger, some people wondered if he secretly knew something about the ingredients that the hungry public did not. The awkward video accidentally revived a wild, dormant rumor from exactly 10 years prior. Back in 2016, a genomic research report supposedly found microscopic traces of strange DNA inside various fast food meat samples across the West Coast. At the time, food scientists explained it away as a simple hygiene error. But the internet loves a tasty mystery. The hesitation of McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski breathed terrifying new life into these old urban legends. Digital commenters began spinning wild tales about hidden, low-quality scraps being secretly tossed into the meat grinder. They repeated dark rumors that unstable scraps swept off factory floors were being formed into savory patties. They wondered if the too thick beef patties were actually made of something else entirely. Of course, the recipe was just normal, wholesome beef, melted white cheddar, and crispy onions. But the damage to the culinary illusion was already done. A simple, nervous corporate lunch had accidentally convinced thousands of hungry customers that a massive 1,020-calorie conspiracy was hiding right inside their dinner boxes. In the unforgiving arena of modern food culture, a viral embarrassment usually spells absolute disaster for a new recipe. When millions of people are laughing at your top executive, you might expect consumer appetite to completely plummet. But the digital attention economy operates on a very different set of rules. The relentless mockery of McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski did something traditional advertising could almost never achieve. It bypassed the usual commercial breaks and planted the name of the new menu item directly into the minds of millions of hungry consumers. Every single meme, every joke about his kale salad aura, and every side-by-side parody video acted as a free, highly effective billboard. People were not just laughing, they were getting incredibly curious. They wanted to know if this 1,020-calorie heavyweight was actually as intimidating as the boss made it look. Instead of panicking and deleting the awkward taste test, the corporate marketing team made a brilliant, self-aware pivot. They leaned entirely into the chaos. The official social media accounts started playfully asking fans to come take a bite of their new product. By completely embracing the uncomfortable moment, they transformed a sterile corporate blunder into a highly relatable internet phenomenon. The massive, tangy, double-patty Big Arc burger was no longer just a lunch option. It was a global cultural moment that everyone wanted to personally taste. The financial results of this chaotic launch were absolutely staggering. Despite the endless jokes and the bizarre resurrected urban legends about the ingredients, the sheer volume of attention kept the restaurant cash registers ringing non-stop. By the end of the launch window in early March 2026, the company's stock value did not crash. It actually rose by an impressive 4.8%. The story of this massive culinary creation proves a fascinating reality about how we eat today. A perfect recipe, premium melted cheddar, and a unique sesame poppy seed bun are incredibly important. But to truly conquer the global appetite, you have to capture the world's attention, and sometimes the absolute best way to do that is to let the McDonald's CEO take one tiny, nervous, unforgettable nibble.